Willie D. Live.
Tell me what that was like, growing up in the household with Clifford, Buddy Harris.
Well,
You know, Eh,
okay. First of all, I didn't grow up in a household with Buddy Harris.
well,
Buddy Harris lived in New York, so I went to see him in
okay,
the summertime.
okay,
And I grew up with my mama and my grandmama mostly. My mom, she was still doing her thing, so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, my uncles.
in Center Hill.
Center Hill,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think it was, man, back in, especially in the early '80s, it was a middle class, working class community with black people. That's it. You know what I mean? And it was a ecosystem somewhat. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Well, if your grandmama went home, your neighbors would watch you in the house and make sure if she said you ain't supposed to be outside, then you ain't gonna come outside. You know what I'm saying? If they catch you showing your ass up the street, you gonna get a whipping, get sent home with a note.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff, man. And I feel like it was a community of high morality, principle. You know what I mean? Like it was just stuff that wasn't gonna fly for real. But as we all know, as the crack epidemic began to be introduced into communities, that fabric, it kind of started disintegrating
Mm-hmm.
bit by bit. So at that point, it became a treacherous ghetto,
Mm.
Um, less people, like before there were families that had their house, owned their house, raised their kids, been there for, tens, 20s of years. Now it's kind of like a lot of rental properties. It's probably about five, six, let's say 10% people who own their house and been there, and then 90% either renters or implants came from somewhere else. So it's had its share of transformation in its evolution from when I grew up to now. But so at first it started out very like stable and structured, and then it just grew into chaos. You know what I mean? Um, but it was, lots of lessons, lots of instilled a lot of principles and morals, and just a higher expectation of myself as far as my character, the quality of my character.
So you stand with your grandparents. They're raising you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing? What is Tip seeing that is influencing him to say, this is what I want to be, but this is what I'm going to do until I can be what I want to be or get to where I want to be? Or did you say, you know what, I'm going to be a damn kingpin?
Well, first of all, nobody in my family could teach me how to do what I'm doing. I don't have any other people that's in the music business in my family before me, rather.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other people that was in the entertainment business in my family before me. These were all blue-collar, working class, bust their ass for what they need people, you know what I mean? My father in New York, now he was probably the richest man that I knew personally. You know what I mean? He had made his way to $1 million status before I was born, but he got his money out the streets running numbers, and he had a pipeline from Harlem to Atlanta. And, he owned properties and, that kind of stuff. So it was somewhere in between busting my ass to get what I want and seeing my expectations came from my father. Like I expected to live at least on this level of life because of my father. When I was in my grandmama's house, the one thing that I knew was it's better than this. You know what I mean? I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live better than this. I remember one time I was at my grandmama's house, and you remember when Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous came on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in my cousin room, because I ain't had no TV in my room. So and she had a door. I didn't have a door, so she had a door. I go in her room watching her TV, and it's an Eddie Murphy episode that came on. 'Cause I think Richard Famer came on like right after Saturday cartoon, and so he walking Robin Leach through his house and whatnot, and I remember seeing he was showing off. Well, I don't want to say showing off. They had focused on some doorknobs. I think were like crystal. They looked like diamond, like a big diamond, like a crystal doorknob. And they looked at it and zoomed in on it. And I was thinking, cause I looked at the door at my house. I was like, man, we ain't even got no doorknob on this door. It's a rag in a hole. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, no, it got to be better than this. I got to have, something better than my surroundings. And as soon as I planted that seed of expectation for myself, those were like, that's what I was pushing myself to achieve the things I needed to achieve to be afforded those types of spoils, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I ask you this, man, because you're different.
Thank you.
You
That's a compliment nowadays.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're different in a good way. Like, your resilience, your perseverance. The the love that you have for your family. Your friends, the way you take care of your friends, your business acumen. You stand on business. So that ain't something that everybody got. It's got to be something that is something or someone that influences that, or something that you look at and say, I want to do it that way. And you said, watching your dad, you said, I at least want to have this type of, this is the bar at least.
Right.
Right.
So my pops, he was the kind of guy, right? When I was born, he was 50 when he had me. So when I was born, he had done phased out of whatever he was doing. I never talked to my father about what he did, or, I knew he took numbers or ran numbers, but he treated it like a job. Like he'd get up every day, same time, leave the house, same time, come back home, same time. And he had like such a system that I felt like, that's his real job. It wasn't until like, I got a little older and started hearing my uncles and other people, talk about him when he wasn't around, you know what I'm saying? That I started to like, oh, okay. So it is bigger than this, However, he never like, I don't know, I really still to the day don't know how the number system, like how it works. He showed my sister. He showed her how to get the numbers and how to figure out who to pay, who not to pay, and all that stuff. He never shared any of that information with me. He was just pops, you know what I mean? And he did support my vision when I told him I needed money for studio time and stuff like that. He'll fool with me a little bit, but eventually, I guess probably about the second time he said, "Hey man, you got to get you a real job. All these hopes. You got to get you a real job, man. Get you a lesson, so you can go, grow up and be something." And I understood why they didn't understand, because what I was trying to do at the time, coming from where we come from, it had never been done before. Because this was even before Outkast. I was like 10, 11, 12 years old. This was like when Crisscross and Another Bad Creation came out. When I saw the kids could, get up there and do their thing, and you don't have to grow into an adult before you make it, I started trying to get it then. And I understand that they didn't understand because, it was something new and different.
When your dad would go out there and get it and come back with it, who was minding you?
At the time, let me see, when I was going to New York, my grandmama. So my grandmama would fly up there with me, my cousin Sean, my other sisters would be there.
This is your paternal grandmother?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. My mama's mama. She would
Your maternal
accompany
grandmother.
me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
she would accompany me up there, and watch us. And, you know what I mean? He did his thing. I mean, and I'm talking like from 11 to 6, 11 to 5. You know what I mean? He'll leave around 11 a.m. Price is Right was on, and he'll come back by the time Sanford and Son was on. You know what I mean? He wasn't like no stay out all night type of cat. He'll go do what he had to do, come on back,
Mm-hmm.
and cook.
Man, you just struck a nerve when you mentioned Sanford and Son. Did you hear
Yeah.
about how Red Fox was treated on the royal family?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I was watching a video of Della Reese,
Mm-hmm.
and she was discussing how the producers treated Red Fox. They did not respect his comedic genius.
Mm.
She said that that she talked about one instance where one incident where Red Fox, they were reading, and Red Fox was doing an interview with Entertainment Tonight or some major publication, some
Mm-hmm.
major news outlet,
Mm-hmm.
and or entertainment outlet, and one of the scenes required Red Fox to walk behind her seat and walk past her, and he didn't have to be in the room at the time, but the producer looked around and said, "Where's Red?" And she said, "Well, he's in there doing an interview." See, she says the guy goes and get Red Fox and, tells him to come out. And then once Red Fox realized that they just wanted him to pass by the seat and they could have anybody to step in and do that, he flipped out. Keep in mind, this is because of all of the other pressure that they've put on him and the disrespect that he's had from being on the show from the producers.
That was the last straw.
This was the last straw. So
Right.
he snaps and freaks out, and next thing you know, he falls to the floor. And Delary said that she knelt down over him and was trying to assist him, and she told them to call his wife. Well, she said that he screamed, "I get my wife," and she said, "Call the paramedics." So she says that I believe she said he either died right then and there, and then they got him in the ambulance, and then he came back for 4 hours, and he was cool, and then he faded out.
Damn.
And he died like that.
Damn.
So essentially, the producers put the wheels in motion, to cause him enough anxiety.
That stress, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That stress will kill you. That's why I deal with
Yeah.
it, be done with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because people want to run you crazy. I ain't going. I read what Nipsey Hussle said. You can either be at war with yourself and at peace with the world, or at war with the world and at peace with yourself. You feel me? So I don't care what y'all got to say, man. Y'all gonna talk amongst yourselves. I done moved on. You feel me? And if I was in Red Fox position, man, I'd have came out there, and when I seen him, I'm like, man, I'm going back to my interview, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's that.
Yeah.
You feel me? I do understand how emotions can run high, and frustrations can push us to value conversations more than necessary. You know what I mean? When something is spoken, or you feel like people playing with you or dealing with you in a certain way, you could respond to that in an irrational, irate, emotional, a frustrated tone, or you could understand why they doing it. I think the understanding, you say, okay, I see why they doing it. They're trying to, all right, yeah, not gonna do it. Cool. And you move on, and I feel like that's what I have found to be a better response for me.